So what I did want to talk about briefly is self-love. Um, that's a big topic, and I won't get into it in much depth. Um, yeah, I guess like I just posted something on on both Instagram and Facebook, about briefly about my journey to self-love, which sounds really weird saying because I don't know. It's not like I've arrived at self-love at all, but I'm, like, on a journey, and I recognize that a lot of issues that I've had in my past have been because of self-love or lack of self-love, and that excuse me, when I'm encountering issues now or repeating patterns, that I can most of the time look at it from a place of self love more than I ever could. Um, and I'm certainly starting to care less what other people think, as is evident by many of my live appearances. Um, yeah, which is a really cool place to be. Um, and it's really the driving reason that I do the work that I do. Um, because I think in like life coaching, um, you can address any problem with someone, but really at the crux of it is this that like sense of self worth. Um, and it really breaks my heart to see all of these really fabulous people who don't think they're enough or who don't believe they're worthy. Um, and they don't show up in their lives or in the world in the way that they could. And I certainly relate to that. I feel like I don't want to say wasted, because I think that I've learned a lot of lessons, but it can feel like a lot of years were spent not living to the best of my ability, because I was too busy living out patterns because I didn't have a loving relationship with myself in a nutshell. And so I don't want other people to do the same thing. And I'm constantly learning and growing in that regard. And when I help other people, I'm learning and growing in that regard too. And I think the world would be a better place if, like, I think so many problems would be solved if we had a sense of self love. Um, and I know that maybe that sounds cheesy, but I really think like so much like manipulation and greed and like cruelty comes from an insecure sense of self, um, that we extend onto other people. And that if we were all more confident and comfortable with ourselves, we wouldn't have to do that. So, really, at the crux of it is self love and getting familiar and comfortable with the I am enough is a really hard place to start, but a hard place, but a good place to start. Um, and that you're worthy. Like, I've been thinking a lot about the concept of like, you are born worthy. Like, nothing touches your worth. No matter who you are or what you've done, even, you're still a worthy human. Um, and that's a little bit harder, and I'm still grappling with it. But I think in my being, I believe it somewhere of like, even if you've done really terrible things, you're worthy of love and general respect. You might not be worthy of like having your individual freedom, like that's been revoked potentially, but like you're worthy in the greater scheme of things, if that makes sense. Um, and so if I can believe that everyone else, no matter like if everyone, no matter what, is worthy, then I must be worthy too. Um, yeah, that's sort of the way I am trying to approach it, and I think about worth. But yes, this comes up the most common in when I do coaching with people is the concept of like not being enough, not feeling like you're enough. You know, people pleasing or perfectionism or you know, gossiping even or um, all those things that come up in your life, those issues can generally, when we strip them back, it relates to I'm not enough. So starting with I am enough is is a good place to start. Um, and why am I talking about all this? Because I love talking about this stuff. Um, Also, because I think so I just finished running this 7-day self-love challenge in the Women's Empowerment Facebook group I'm running, and oh, it was so lovely. It was so humbling and beautiful and heartbreaking, and, like, I think we all felt really connected and maybe less alone to see what that we all struggle with some similar things, and that we're all, taking some time in that challenge, like taking time to do practices of self-love were really challenging. And a lot of stuff came to light for people. Um, but it was really beautiful. And the feedback that I got from the folks who did it, the unsolicited feedback was that it was really helpful. Having sort of guided activities and journal prompts, etc., and that people felt motivated to um, continue on that work, which is awesome. Um, and part of my reasoning for running the challenge was because I think right now it's a really tough time. And I think for a lot of us, we are alone with our thoughts and our our feelings and the things that we have tried to run away from for a long time that, in quote unquote regular life, we've been able to distract ourselves with, like our careers or, working out at the gym or whatever, staying busy, whatever, even just engaging with other people and their problems, etc. Not that we can't do that to some degree now, but I think like never before we are really alone with ourselves. And if you don't have a loving relationship with yourself, that is a really fucking scary place to be. It really is. Um, and a lot of us have more time, not everyone, but definitely a lot of us have more time and space from the chaos that was life pre-pandemic, um, to do some of the work. So that was really my thinking, and that is why I have decided to run a workshop, a free workshop on May 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 7 pillars of self-love. So we'll we'll be talking about, primarily me talking, but there will be some activities about what I call the 7 pillars of self-love. Um, and I'll be giving you some activities to take home similarly to the challenge, journal prompts, etc. Um, because I think it's really important. I think this work is really important anyway, but I think it's particularly important now. So I really want to offer that to folks. Um, so if you're interested in that, uh, it's definitely linked in my bio on Instagram, and I will put the link on Facebook under the post that I just did. It's a picture of me with wings, so I'll put the post there, and you just send your email, and you'll get the link the day of, if that's something you're interested in. yeah, so that's that. That's a little bit about me, and um, I'll be, as the weeks and months go on, talking more about my journey. I have a blog post I've been sitting on for a while about my story or pieces of my story, um, that I just haven't. It hasn't felt like the right time to post, but maybe that will come soon. Um, and I'd love to hear other people's stories. I'd love to hear where you got to, how you got to where you are, and how you got there. Um, I mean, like I said, that's what connects us all. And I think, particularly in a time like now, it's really important to be connecting and knowing we're not alone, not only in this immediate, but just in our struggles for self worth and self love. You're not alone. So that's all I have to say about that for this evening. Trying to keep them 10 to 15 minutes. Um, I hope, well, I'll be on Friday at 4. I hope to see some of you then. I'll be talking likely about more self love stuff. Again, I'm always open to questions or comments, that people have, or things you'd like me to talk about. So just get at me in the number of ways that one can. And yeah, be kind to yourself, because it's a tough time and we're all just doing our best. So remember that. And if you want to stick around and watch me stop this video, please do. Otherwise, take care.